The old town of Ravenscroft nestled at the base of a crooked hill, shrouded in a thick forest of ancient oaks. Atop that hill, a dilapidated mansion loomed, casting a long shadow over the town. Locals whispered about it in hushed tones, calling it the haunted house on the hill. For generations, the mansion had stood abandoned, its dark history fueling tales of horror and tragedy. One autumn evening, a group of adventurous friends gathered around a campfire in the heart of Ravenscroft. They were eager to prove their bravery by spending the night inside the notorious haunted mansion. Among them were Jenna, the bold leader of the group, Marcus, her skeptical but curious boyfriend, Sarah, the bookish historian, and Alex, the thrill seeker. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, they made their way up the winding path to the mansion's imposing front doors. The air grew colder, and the moonlight seemed to dance eerily on the ivy-covered walls. Jenna, undeterred by the ominous atmosphere, produced an old, rusted key she claimed to have found in her grandmother's attic. The front doors groaned open reluctantly, revealing a grand, but decaying, entrance hall. Dust hung thick in the air, and the walls were adorned with tattered portraits of long-forgotten ancestors. Sarah's eyes gleamed with excitement as she recognized the historical significance of the mansion. They ventured further into the mansion, their footsteps echoing through the empty corridors. The air grew colder still, and the sound of creaking floorboards seemed to whisper secrets of the past. Jenna, determined to prove her fearlessness, led the group into the cavernous dining room. There, they discovered a grand, ornate table covered in a dusty white cloth. On it lay an assortment of tarnished silverware, frozen in time as if awaiting the return of its long-departed owners. As they examined the room, a sudden chill gripped the air, and the candles on the dining table flickered ominously. Alex, always eager for a thrill, declared, "Let's split up and explore. We meet back here in an hour." Despite Marcus's protests, the group dispersed into the dark recesses of the mansion. Sarah chose the library, drawn to the shelves filled with ancient books. As she ran her fingers over their spines, she sensed a presence in the room, a faint whisper of a voice. She turned, expecting to find one of her friends, but the room was empty. Shivers raced down her spine as she realized that the voice had come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Meanwhile, Jenna and Marcus ventured into the mansion's abandoned ballroom. As they explored the grand space, the music of a long-forgotten waltz filled the air. They watched in awe as spectral figures in elegant attire twirled gracefully across the dance floor. Marcus's skepticism melted away, replaced by a bone-chilling realization that the mansion's legends were all too real. Alex, in his pursuit of adventure, descended into the mansion's dark basement. The air grew thick with an acrid scent as he stumbled upon a room shrouded in darkness. He fumbled for his flashlight and illuminated the room, revealing a horrifying sight. A collection of decrepit, rusted cages, their bars twisted as if by some malevolent force. His heart pounding, he rushed back upstairs to find his friends. As the hour passed, the group reunited in the dining room, their faces pale with fear. Jenna and Marcus recounted the ghostly ballroom, and Sarah described the haunting whispers in the library. Alex's tale of the basement cages sent a chill down their spines. "I think it's time to leave," Marcus whispered, glancing nervously at the flickering candles. But just as they turned to make their exit, the mansion seemed to come alive with an unearthly force. Doors slammed shut, and the once quiet whispers grew into a cacophony of eerie voices. The walls themselves seemed to shift and close in around them. Panicking, Jenna rushed to the front doors, but they refused to budge. Sarah, the historian, turned to her friends with a grave expression. "We need to find out what happened here. The spirits are trying to tell us something." With Sarah's guidance, they followed the chilling sounds to a hidden chamber at the back of the mansion. Inside, they discovered a trove of letters, diaries, and artifacts. As they pored over the documents, the tragic story of the mansion began to unravel. Long ago, the mansion had been the home of the Hawthorne family, renowned for their wealth and influence. But beneath the facade of opulence lay a dark secret, a curse that had plagued the family for generations. It was a curse born of greed and betrayal, a curse that demanded the sacrifice of one family member every century. The family's eldest daughter, Abigail Hawthorne, had been the last victim of the curse. She had fallen in love with a servant, a forbidden romance that had sealed their tragic fate. The night of their elopement, Abigail had been led into the hidden chamber by her own father, where she had met her gruesome end. As the group read through the documents, they could feel Abigail's presence growing stronger, her anguished spirit seeking to tell her story and find peace. Sarah, her voice quivering, spoke aloud, addressing the unseen presence. "We understand your pain, Abigail. We'll help you break the curse and find rest." At that moment, the room filled with a blinding light, and the mansion seemed to shake with a powerful force. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the walls ceased their ominous whispers. Jenna and her friends felt an overwhelming sense of relief and gratitude. They left the mansion, its dark history now known, and made their way back to Ravenscroft. The haunted house on the hill was haunted no more, its curse broken by the compassion and bravery of her unlikely heroes. From that day forward, Ravenscroft changed. The old mansion atop the hill stood as a silent testament to the power of redemption and the importance of facing one's past. And as the years passed, the whispers of the mansion's dark history faded into distant memory, replaced by tales of a different kind of courage, friendship, and the resilience of the human spirit.